I've always lived with Lily, my cat. It's the closest thing I could have to a child. This is maybe the second phase of our tour, starting in London, back to the Brixton Academy, which is great because it's a pretty important piece of history for me. That's where I started, I guess, corrupting British youth. I called the record Born Villain because coming from a Christian school upbringing, you're taught that you're born a sinner, so you're a kid, and I don't know really what the sin is unless you're just covered in blood, and you also made your mother's lady parts not the same. Potentially, maybe that's a sin. But making this record, I had to really remember why I started this, and it was because I had ambition and I had the determination to make some sort of difference, to make people feel something. The few records that I made prior to this one, I started writing in the sense that I thought that I wanted to make people feel like I was feeling rather than to feel something. And at the time I was feeling rather shitty, so that's not a really good idea. I just had my paints, my guitars, microphones, movies, and books. So I just had stuff that I could create with and be inspired by. And I found that limitations really make you strive to be more creative. If you have a pencil and a piece of paper, you've got options. You can set a fire, you can stab someone with it, you can wipe your ass with it, you can write a poem, you can write a suicide note, you can draw a picture, and that makes you be more creative. And that sort of philosophy led into making this record. Setting out to make Born Villain, I decided I don't like who I am right now. I need to make a comeback musically, and it takes humility to realize that you're not living up to your own standards. When I started this, I was a nerd that no one believed in, and I thought, well, I'm gonna do this to prove you wrong. I guess that's back where I am again, just to prove everyone who doesn't believe that I can do what I do wrong, and also to make the people who do believe in me proud. Mostly because I was drinking so much of it that they said, why don't you just make your own label? And then strangely, I don't drink mine that much because it's too strong. That's a good advertisement. Even Marilyn Manson doesn't drink his own absinthe because it's too strong. I first drank absinthe in New Orleans, and then Johnny Depp and I on Y2K I went there because I thought the world was going to come to an end just in case. I went to the south of France and we bought every case of absinthe they had in Prague. It was just the burgeoning of our bromance, our brotherly love for each other. He doesn't drink as much right now because he's focusing on other things. I will say that he introduced me to Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson said that I was the only person he was afraid of that could take him down. What I've learned, here's my advice over the ages: drink and do drugs when you're in a good mood, not when you're in a bad mood. I lasted so long because I sold my soul to the devil, but I'm not sure if there was a warranty on that or if there's like a return policy. It's been a difficult time to stay focused, and it's been a matter of just remembering that you're supposed to be happy when you do something. When you're done doing it, it's supposed to be rewarding, not depressing. A lot of times it's been frustrating. And I think that a great part of that was being involved with the wrong parties. I don't believe in prostitution because it's wrong. No, I don't believe in prostitution because I'd never pay for sex. I mean, you always pay for it in the end, in one way or another. I don't like the idea that pay somebody to pretend like they like you. I befriended a hooker that came over to my house once with some guy that I'm not really friends with. I didn't know she was a hooker, and I said, oh, how did you meet my friend? And she said, at his house. And I said, oh, what do you do for a living? She's like, oh, I'm a prostitute. That's nice. And then we became friends, and she made us Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't eat it because I didn't know where her hands had been. But she was a very nice girl. If someone's not a sex addict, something's wrong with them. If anybody wants to raise their hand in the room and say that they're not addicted to sex, then you should have your genitals replaced with, I don't know. I was gonna say a sock puppet, but just so it could entertain kids or something. But